That was my sexy radio voice. Anyway, that was me banging my phone on my coffee mug.
Yeah, don't do that.
I'm just putting my phone in my pocket. I guess I should turn off Dropbox too.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I'm using a hardwired connection, so I don't really know that it's that necessary.
Yeah, I'm still on wireless. I need to get a new router.
Do you have a good connection, good Wi-Fi connection?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But the router every 2 or 3 days it just needs rebooting.
Oh, that's annoying. Yeah.
The speeds go down to basically nothing.
Yeah. We had some problems with the Eros for a little while. But it seems to have resolved itself. I was having a problem with, what was I doing? You know what it was? I was having IP address collisions for some reason. I have a really weird setup, and I had Jennifer on. Somehow the IP address on my old MacBook Pro was colliding with something else on the network, and it was basically freezing up all the traffic at some point. So I just put her on Ethernet, so it's not a problem anymore.
Yeah, I suppose that's one way to solve it.
It is. It was like the convenient way to, because what am I going to do? Tear down the whole network? I mean, I have a weird network where it's all the routers in the basement, and all the wires come out of there and they go through the walls. But then, like behind the TV, I have another router so I can hardwire things like Roku and Apple TV and all that stuff.
Right.
And it just becomes this octopus with all these extra tentacles at the end. And then, of course, nowadays, got like 1 million things connected to the Wi-Fi, whether it's the Nintendo DS and phones and iPads and computers and I don't know, the Switch and everything. We don't have a connected refrigerator yet.
Not yet.
No, not yet. I'm not planning on it either.
No, that sounds terrible.
I saw an ad for one, a Samsung one, the other day. I think they're actually becoming mainstream enough that they're doing regular television commercials.
I don't know what. I don't think we can get into what should and shouldn't be internet connected.
They showed somebody they were checking. I think they were checking the expiration date. The stuff you typically hear. Oh, your milk is about to expire. Let me put it on your list when you go to the grocery store. That sort of thing.
Yeah, I can see the idea behind it, but that is just not going to work in practice.
No, it's a lot of electronics for very little convenience.
You might as well just glue an iPad to the front of your fridge and just leave the Notes app on.
I can't even get Jennifer to use like a grocery shopping list app. She doesn't like to have her phone out when she's shopping. She just wants a piece of paper, which I guess I kind of get. So
what you need is you use the Todoist integration on the Echo.
Yeah.
So you send that to Todoist, and then you'll need some kind of way to trigger IFTTT to send that list to your printer.
Yes.
To then print the list off so that she can walk out the door and go with a paper list.
Yes. What you just need is a script running on a 24/7 running server in your home, which I could see doing. We have an iMac that doesn't get used much. Just put a little script on there and auto print things. No, I'm not going to do that. But I could write about it, I suppose.
There you go. I'm solving all your problems.
Yeah.
This is a good start.
So, yesterday, I went to Macstock. And it's going on today, too. It's called Macstock Expo, which is a gathering of Apple enthusiasts in the Chicago area. And it's only very loosely the Chicago area because it's I live about 25 miles away from downtown, and this is, so that, which would maybe take, on a good day, a half an hour to get out to. This is about an hour and a half from downtown and almost that far from where I live. So it's really far out. It's in a town called Woodstock, and here's a fun fact for you, Rob. Woodstock is where they filmed Groundhog Day.
Huh.
So if you remember Groundhog Day, when they do all the reporting, where the day always starts and they've got the town square with the gazebo and all that stuff when
Yep.
waiting for Puxatawny Phil to come out and see a shadow or not. That is the town square. So that's where I was last night.
Huh. Well, there you go. I did not know that.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of people there, a bunch of Mac nerds, and it's not entirely Mac oriented. There was some iOS stuff going on there, but it's definitely more Mac oriented than iOS. Doing talks on things like email and pages and home automation, all sorts of different things. And then there was a little party afterwards, which was right off of the square, which I went to. And before there was a bit of a break, so I went and had dinner at a place called the Public House, of course, which was a pub inside of an old courthouse that's no longer a courthouse, which I thought was kind of fitting. So I sat outside, had a burger and a beer, looked over the town square, and thought about Puxatawny Phil the whole time.
And is this exactly what you did last year when you went? Was it in the same place?
It was in the same place, although we didn't. So it was a little bit like Groundhog Day, although we didn't have the party wasn't in this same place. So I don't think I saw the town square last year. It was the little party was the conference is run at a community college out there, and the party was at the community college last year. So I never actually got to downtown Woodstock until yesterday.
Huh. Well, there you go.
So that's what I've been doing, and that's going on again today. And I'm not entirely sure whether I'm going to be able to go back out or not, because it is kind of a long haul from my house, and I've got some other stuff to do today. So I may just stick at home today and enjoy what looks like a nice summer day here.
Yeah, it's a fair drive to get out there, but you know, America is pretty big. So,
it is. Even just Chicago is pretty big. So
you know, if I saw something that was that far away, like that wouldn't even be on my radar to go to.
Yes,
that's like half the country.
Well, and it's deceiving. I somehow between going last year and this year, I had forgotten how far it was, and when I saw how far it was, I just couldn't believe that it was almost an hour and a half away, even though it's still. I mean, like I said, it's only loosely Chicago area because it's very nearly up in Wisconsin at that distance. So
cool. Well, talking of trips, I'm taking a trip down to Dongle Town.
Oh yes, yes.
Probably next week. Hopefully, if it actually turns up.
Yeah, you're getting a new MacBook, right?
Yeah, so I've got the 15-inch Touch Bar Space Gray that's coming. I don't know. It got dispatched on Friday, but it says it's not going to be here till like the 24th, so like
really?
10 days.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't one of the stock configurations, so I knew it would take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it says it's going to be like another 10 days before it gets here. So
I bet it'll get there faster than that.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Because otherwise, it means I've got to go into work to get my laptop when
you're on vacation.
When I'm on vacation. Yeah, exactly. Which is no fun.
Right. Right. Well, once it leaves China, it's pretty darn fast after that. At least it usually is for me, because it crosses the international date line, which gives it an extra day.
Oh yeah, of course.
Usually comes through Alaska, and then makes a quick visit down to Stephen Hackett Land, and then to Chicago. That Stephen Hackett Land being Memphis, because that's where FedEx's big facility is in the U.S.
Yeah. So yeah, with a bit of luck, it will show up earlier. But
all right.
I've already ordered a couple of dongles, so some stuff that I needed for work to hook up my monitors and stuff. I've got an Orkey VGA USB-C adapter.
Okay. I have a VGA one too. I've got the Apple official one.
Yeah, somebody I work with had a spare one, so I didn't need to order that. He just said, "Oh yeah, you can just have it." Because he ordered way too many dongles when he bought his laptop.
Yeah, I'm already not using the VGA one. And yes, I do have a monitor that uses VGA still. Yes, it's true. I know it's a little bit it's a little sad. But
the one I'm hooking up the VGA to actually has VGA, DVI, and HDMI.
Oh.
So it's only because somebody gave me that dongle that I'm just going to use VGA, because it doesn't really make a lot of difference. This is like my third monitor, I guess, that I use at work.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I bought a cheapo 23-inch Dell monitor way back when, and it has just VGA and DVI, And so Apple doesn't make a DVI dongle, so I got a third-party one, and it's working fine. And I have noticed that the refresh rate is better with the DVI than it is with VGA. Like in certain apps, it'll look a little flickery if I have the VGA hooked up. So that's why. So I bought two dongles just to hook up this one old monitor, and I've settled on the DVI one.
Yeah, that makes sense. You say if the VGA doesn't work for this, I'll pick up an HDMI one or something.
Yeah.
And then I've ordered another Orkey kind of dock, and it's got USB-C pass-through, HDMI, and then 4 standard USB ports.
Okay.
So that pretty much covers me for what I need at work. Because my main monitor not only needs HDMI, but also needs USB as well.
Yep.
This is so you can plug keyboards and stuff into the monitor rather than directly into the dock or into the laptop.
Oh, okay.
And then I've also ordered a bunch of little, like miniature USB to USB-C adapters because I need one for like my microphone and, USB sticks and my printer when I need that. So
Right. Yeah, I've only got one of those, and I really could use 2. I need to maybe pick up another one of those, and I also have Ethernet one. Do you have that for?
No, I don't really have any situations where I need Ethernet.
You're just using Wi-Fi at work?
Yeah, it's a pretty small office. The Wi-Fi is pretty good because there's only 4 or 5 of us using the Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay.
The sales guys and stuff like that are all using wired Ethernet on theirs. So 4 or 5 of us on the Wi-Fi is fine.
Right. Oh, that's good. It's a lot of dongles. It gets expensive pretty fast with those.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is. I mean, my current laptop at work, I'm using 2 dongles plus a converter, I think, to convert like DVI to VGA because I didn't have the right cable. So it's a bunch of dongles now, and my new one will be the same. But it's fine. I'm quite happy to spend a little bit and just get it all sorted.
Yeah, I have found that having the 4 USB-C adapter, whatever, inputs on my laptop is just about the perfect number. I don't know how someone could even use a regular MacBook that only has 1 because I don't know. I'm sitting here right now with all 4 of mine filled.
Yeah, it seems like when I was looking around at the docks and things like that, I think they haven't quite worked out exactly what people want yet because there's so much variety there. But there doesn't seem to be like a reasonably priced one that will kind of do everything one person would need.
Yeah.
In a single dock.
Right. I have not gone the dock route. Yesterday, actually, I was at MacStock. I saw the OWC was one of the sponsors. That's, Otherworld Computing, which is it's based here in the Chicago area, somewhere out in those nether regions where this thing was being held. And they have a Thunderbolt dock that has all sorts of stuff you can plug into it. I think it was Belkin, I want to say, made one of these at one point that I had hooked up and it died. So I haven't, and they're super expensive for what they are. They're like $300. So I've stayed away from that. Now I've just got your basic little one-off dongles at this point because that's all I need. I don't really need a hub or anything like that. And I've got an anchor thing that I plug into the wall just for charging things, so I can sit here and have my phone plugged in or whatever.
Yeah, that's like you say that some of the decent kind of docking solutions get really expensive. There's there's one called Cow Digit, I think is the company.
Oh yeah, yep, I've heard of them.
And that's like got its own power source, and so if you don't need the MacBook charger, you can just use this dock thing. But yeah, they get pretty expensive, and to be honest, I'm plugging in 2 cables is fine. Right now, I'm plugging in like 3 or 4 when I get to work, whereas at least this solution will only be 2.
Yeah, I've actually got my laptop. It's powered off of the Anchor right now because it's one of these Anchor hubs that has a USB-C and then 4 or 5 USB-As, and it's not a hub. It's just for charging. But it's handier than for a while I was having to crawl under the desk and plug it in every time. And then when I want to take my laptop with me and leave the house, I had to crawl back under the desk and unplug it and put everything in my bag. So now at least that is on top of the desk. A lot of people would be very horrified by my setup because there are wires everywhere. And you know what? I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't mind. The wires are not where I'm working. They're behind the monitor, basically.
Yeah, the charger situation with Apple is a bit crappy now with the USB-C MacBooks because they'll sell you the brick
Right.
for £70. Then they'll charge you another £20 for the USB cable.
Yep.
And then if you want the extension cable now, that's another £15 or £20 or something.
Yeah, I did that. Yep.
It's not the end of the world. Like, I needed a second charger because I'm not gonna like plug my take it in and out every day from work and try and remember it. And I've got a few of the extensions lying around that I can use, so that's not too much of a problem. But I don't know. It's just a bit weird that they're all kind of separate components now, and you don't even get the extension with the laptop anymore.
Yeah, and although I guess to defend the indefensible, once I went to this solution with the Anchor thing sitting on top of my desk, I suddenly realized I don't really need this extension cable very often, right? I mean, I need it if I'm going somewhere where I don't know how close the power is going to be, then I'll bring it. Then I'll bring it along. But I don't need it at home anymore unless I move my laptops to some other part of the house where I need a little bit more distance. For day to day, though, I just don't need it anymore, which has worked out pretty well.
Yeah, to be honest, you're probably right. Apple knows better than we do. I'm assuming Apple knows most people probably don't use them. I don't see them all that often, like when I was at university and stuff, and loads of people had MacBooks there. Whenever I'd see people plugging them in, nobody had their extension cables with them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're not. It's a nice to have thing, and I have used it. Like, if I'm going to a coffee shop, that's the kind of place I'll bring it because you never know where the power outlet is going to be when you're at a coffee shop. And but usually when I go out to work remotely, it's because I'm on my way to somewhere where I know I'll have power. So I usually just work with on the battery because the battery lasts long enough that it's not an issue.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as I say, it's fine. I'm buying a multiple £1,000 computer. I can live with spending another £100 on an extra charger.
Yeah, 15-inch screen is going to be nice. That's I kind of miss my 15-inch screen because I went down to a 13, and I really like the portability because it's really not much different in weight than the 12.9-inch iPad Pro with a smart cover on it. They're very close in size and weight. And so I kind of like that because I had before the older 15-inch MacBook Pro, and that thing was pretty darn heavy.
Yeah, I to be honest, I was quite happy with the 13. That's what I've got now, and I was looking at the 13 to buy. But once I'd upgraded the 13 to like the highest processor, and I had to upgrade the RAM and the hard drive, the price difference between the two, with the student discount I was getting as well, the 15 really it was only about £70 or £80 more expensive.
Oh, okay.
And obviously the 15-inch ones, all the 13s only come with dual core processors, where the 15 comes with a quad core.
Right.
How much difference that'll actually make in my life, I don't know, because like two of the guys at work, one's got the 13, one's got the 15. We're all doing the same kind of work, and they're both fine.
Yeah.
But I figured I might as well go for it anyway, because I intend to keep it for another 3 years, probably until the Apple Care runs out.
Yeah, you've got a discrete GPU too, which is actually something that always scares me off of certain models of the 15 because I've heard so many horror stories of people having problems with the discrete GPUs.
Yeah,
but you can become a laptop gamer.
That is not going to happen.
It's still probably not a good enough GPU for that. Not for hardcore gaming. But oh man, so you told me that you were doing some stuff with 1Password. What have you been doing?
Yeah, so obviously because I'm getting a new laptop, I was kind of looking through all my stuff and I'm working out what was installed and not. And 1Password, I've now got kind of a subscription plan for syncing and backup and stuff like that. And Jess, my girlfriend, like most people, she's just using the same password everywhere.
Right.
Or slight variations on the same password, but in reality, it might as well be the same password for as far as somebody trying to hack an account is concerned.
Right.
So yeah, I signed up for the 1Password family plan, which I think is about $60 a year.
Mm-hmm.
enables you to share it with, I can't remember how many it goes up to. I think it's probably 4 or 5 people or something. It allows you to have your own vault and then a shared vault between all the family members, or you can share it with specific people if you had, say, 3 or 4 people on there. And sign up was all fine. It was pretty great. The biggest problem was just going through all these services, that Jess has signed up to, and changing the passwords.
Yeah, it is going to.
They've all got like ridiculous rules, and sometimes they don't tell you these rules when you put the password in.
Yeah.
Like PayPal just made the input go red, but there was no explanation as to what was wrong.
Oh wow. Yeah, PayPal is the worst. I was actually talking to someone from 1Password last night at MacStock, and was asking about, in iOS 11, you're going to be able to, how they have the autofill for Safari in iOS? That came in iOS 9, I want to say, maybe 10. That's coming to apps now as well, which is really nice. So if you're in, I don't know, Facebook or Google or Pinterest or whatever, an actual app as opposed to a web view, it will populate the username and password. And it's really clever how they did it. There's a really good WWC video on it. And I was asking him if he thought that was gonna really put a dent in their business, and he didn't think so. And I kind of tend to agree, just because there's a lot more you can do with 1Password. It's a lot more robust than what Apple's implementing, which is just kind of the basics. But I have found myself using the autofill in Safari on iOS and on the Mac a lot more than I expected. It's faster. You don't have that extra step of having to open 1Password all the time.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, a couple of things. Like, I think as much as it sounds good, in reality, like, once you kind of sign into an app on iOS, or even on Android or whatever, like, you very rarely have to sign in again.
True.
So, I agree. It's a nice feature that, great, it's going to autofill, but in reality, I don't think it affects 1Password's business that much, because, for me, it's not just about having secure passwords. Like, I store my bank details in there, my credit cards, so that I can pay for stuff. And, I've got like scans of my passport and driving license and IDs and things like that I might need access to. And like, where do you put a scan of your passport if you don't have something like 1Password? Like, it just kind of sits in Dropbox or Google Drive or something, and it's not really that useful.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, what I think the Apple thing solves is that first run problem with an app where, let's say you have, you just downloaded the PayPal app and your PayPal credentials, but now you're in the PayPal app, and now you have to go out of the PayPal app because they don't have 1Passwords, that they don't use their API to have a 1Password button in the PayPal app. So you have to go out, go to 1Password, copy this, go back. That it avoids that issue, because you won't have to do that. You won't have to do that anymore when you first download an app.
Yeah, that does sound nice.
Gets rid of a lot of that friction, that first run friction. So, because I'm sure that a lot of people are faced with that, and they're like, "Oh, screw it! I'm already logged in on Safari. I'll just use the web app," which may or may not be as good a solution. Don't want to offend any web developers out there, Rob, but sometimes it's not quite as good an experience.
No, you are right. I think there's definitely some apps that probably don't need to exist and could just be a website. But on the other hand, I feel like stuff, as you say, like PayPal and banking and stuff like that, I feel like an app is a lot better, because you can get like Touch ID login, or it can keep you logged in or whatever. There are a lot of advantages to having some of this stuff in actual native apps.
Yes, although with banks, it is absolutely a toss-up as to which is worse, the website or the app sometimes, because I don't think banks aren't good at either.
No, I mean, my main bank that I use, HSBC. I mean, I don't know what their app is like in the US, but in the UK, like, it is just so terrible.
Yeah.
If it wasn't so much hassle to switch banks, I would have done by now, but it's just too much effort.
Yeah, my bank's app actually finally got Touch ID, which that alone made it actually usable for me, because it was such a chore to log in every single time. There was no way to save your password in it.
Yeah.
So you're going through that process, and you're basically visiting sites one by one, right?
Yeah, basically. I mean, Jess hasn't signed up to us anywhere near as many sites as probably like you or me are. But basically, she went into Chrome, found all her saved passwords that Chrome had saved, and like just went through that list and went through and reset.
Oh, yeah, that's a good way to do it.
If she'd had more, the way I would have suggested it was the way I did it. A few years ago when I've realised I was in a complete mess with my passwords, I just went into Chrome, wiped all my saved passwords, and logged myself out of everything.
Right.
So every single site I hit, I had to do a forgot password, like a password reset.
Right.
Which means I click password reset, they send you the email, I click it, I just generate a password in one password, and like it kind of forces you to just have to do it because you don't know your passwords anymore.
Right.
It can be annoying, especially
Sure.
if you're trying to do something quickly, but that worked really well for me because everything was logged out and I just had to do it. Now I'm pretty sure I have like generated passwords for pretty much every site at this point.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I could probably stand to go back and do something like that as well. I think maybe I would use a hybrid approach and go through and do the ones that I use the most just manually all in one, like one sitting for an hour or two, and then do what you said and delete everything else. And then just as I hit them, have to relog back in and create a new password. Yeah. Huh. All right. No, that's good. That's good computer hygiene, Rob. Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
You're doing better than me. I'm pretty good about it all, but and I'm especially much better about it over the last few years. But I do still have some sites which have not great passwords, especially stuff that I don't really care that much about. Because I was telling you before, I think that I'm not so worried about somebody hacking my Pocket account. Please don't hack my Pocket account. But I don't have a great password for Pocket, for instance. Changing it right now, by the way.
I think the problem is, it's easy to say, oh, I don't have a good password for something you don't care about, Pocket or Pinterest, for one of these random sites that's not really that important. But of course, if you've used that password elsewhere,
yes,
and
that
password
is the
gets
problem.
hacked, and of course, that's the real concern there. But yeah, I totally get it. Like, I've had stuff that doesn't have a secure password, but I try and make sure I change them now.
Yeah, well, that's the cascade problem where if someone gets one, then they can get into other things, and you may find that there's a connection there that you don't want people to have. So you put Breath of the Wild in our show notes too, and what's going on with Breath of the Wild?
Well, I actually bought it.
Ah, you finally broke down, huh?
Yeah, I think it was. Well, I think it was the last time we spoke, but we didn't record because there was basically nothing to talk about.
Right.
So I went out later that day to the game shop that I used to work at.
Right.
And I saw Breath of the Wild at the back for the Switch on the shelf behind the counter. And knowing that it's like £48, I think, on Amazon, brand new. I thought, I'm not going to buy a second hand. I'll just buy it brand new if I want it. And then I saw they were selling it for £30.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, especially with the Switch, because it's little cartridges, like second hand really doesn't, there's no disc to get affected. The cartridges are pretty sturdy.
Right.
So yeah, I kind of ended up picking it up on a whim just because it was cheap. I haven't played quite as much of it as I'd wanted to, but I've done like the first Divine Beast. Is pretty much as far as I've got. I have found the game a little bit exhausting because like all your weapons and stuff do wear out and break.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably just the lack of time. Like I don't have 50-60 hours to sit there and really get into it, so at times like stuff breaking or running out of ammo and stuff is just a little bit annoying.
Right. Yeah, no, I know what you mean because I don't have a ton of time to play it either, and I will sit down and play it for a while, and then it's maybe a week before I come back, and then I kind of forget what I was doing and where I'm going, and yeah, it's a game that you kind of have to play consistently, I think, to really enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely really liking it. I just think it's going to take me a long time to actually finish it. I mean, I liked what I'd played of it so much that I ended up buying a Link statue.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've got one of those too. One of the amiibos, or it was just this actual statue thing?
No, this is a full size statue.
Oh, okay.
I did end up buying a couple of amiibos as well.
Rob's been shopping again. See, I haven't been shopping. I no one can give me a hard time about shopping. I don't think I've bought anything of any consequence recently.
Yeah, so I actually went on a bit of a spending spree that week. I bought the Zelda statue, the Link statue, the 2 amiibo, and then I bought the Thunderjaw statue from Horizon. I'm not sure if I showed you this a while ago.
I don't think so.
But this is I think it's about $200. I got it cheaper than that.
Oh, wait. Yeah, you did. You did show me that. That's very cool.
Yeah, this. I mean, I kind of bought it and didn't have anywhere to put it. But yeah, so like I say, I am enjoying Zelda. It is a bit frustrating. I think for like somebody like us, where we don't quite have as much time, to put into it as maybe we want. I think the cooking and weapon system is probably just makes it a little bit harder to play.
Right. Are you gonna get Splatoon?
I think so. It's quite annoying actually. I wanted to play the demo yesterday.
Did they do another? They did another one yesterday.
Yeah, they did. It was like a 3-hour time slot.
Are they doing it today at all? Do you know?
No, it's only today. It was only yesterday, annoyingly. And it just happened to be running while I was out for a meal. So I haven't actually had a chance to play it yet. I'll probably pick it up.
It's coming out on Friday. I think it comes out next Friday.
It does, yeah, which is when my Pink and Green Pro controller will turn up as well, because I think that's being released at the same time.
Did you end up buying the one that was released in Europe, or did you have to do something special like eBay or...
Yeah, so I've got the Pro controller that was on Amazon, and yeah, they finally released the Pink and Green Joy-Cons in the
that's what
UK.
I was thinking, yeah.
So I do have a pre-order for those. I think those come out on the 28th.
Oh, okay.
The actual Joy-Cons, I'm not really sure what was going on with those, but yeah, luckily I will actually be able to get those now.
Yeah, I totally forgot that they were doing a Pro controller too. Because I remember the Joy-Cons, but I didn't remember that there was a Pro controller. Yeah, I'm going to definitely pick it up. I'm trying to decide whether I should do the downloaded version or the little cartridge version. And I actually have the cartridge on pre-order. I should cancel that if I'm going to go with the download. The download will show up faster, you know what I mean? For those people who are impatient and can't wait till the end,
yeah, for sure.
The end of the day. Because the UPS guys doesn't come by my house until usually late in the afternoon. But I'm assuming that this will be available, I don't know, midnight Greenwich Mean Time, I think, maybe, or Eastern, or I don't know how they do that with Nintendo. Do you?
No idea. I think I'm pretty sure it's like midnight for each specific region.
Oh, yeah, and they just have different servers serving different parts of the world. Yeah, that probably. Yeah, that makes sense. Or they're checking your IP and figuring out what part of the world you're in. That's probably what they're doing.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So. All right. Well, that gives I have to think about it because I'm taking Friday off next week, so next Friday could be my Splatoon day.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, I'd go digital then if you're going to be around. Otherwise, you're going to be waiting for the UPS guy to turn up.
You have convinced me because I'm going to be up early. Yeah, I'm going to be up early that day too because Owen's coming in from California that morning, so on the red eye.
Cool.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
So, anything else?
No, I think it probably wraps it up for this week.
Yeah, definitely. That was a good chat. Enjoy the rest of your weekend as well as Breath of the Wild. You've also inspired me to probably crack that open today and have another go at it. I finally got off the Grand Plateau. That's how sad I am. Took me a while to find that.
Oh yeah, it took me a while as well.
and my kids give me a hard time because they're like. Because I actually do just like to wander around and like I don't know shake the apples out of the tree with an axe and that sort of thing. The very mellow approach to Zelda, just wandering around aimlessly and yeah sure I'll do a shrine now.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Well, I will talk to you next week then.
All right. Speak to you later.